Hello, everybody. This is Nick Terrell, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. All right. Um, we've prepared our environment. We built a autopsy case. Now it's time to begin investigating. So this is phase one. This is data organization. Sorry, I have to look at notes sometimes. This is data organization. A lot of little busy work going on here, a lot of cutting and pasting. You're not really analyzing anything yet. You're just getting stuff from the autopsy or from the drive, and you're condensing it down into the report. Remember, the end result is the creation of a report that you can hand off to somebody. It is not you're going to hand off the autopsy. They don't want to see that. They want to see your report. So, the report I'm going to use, good chance it's going to change, but I guarantee you, if it changes, it'll never be to your detriment. For example, if you're if you've already done something and then I say, oh, you don't need to do that, that's not going to happen. So you're going to see the report change over time, over semesters actually. And so we're going to keep on improving it based upon your feedback back to me and things like that. So let's go up to my screen and let's look at just the part of the report that involves the original evidence where the police agency turned over a USB drive. All right. So let's just start with the initial evidence. All right. So we're up at the report. And again, all we're looking at is the pages that are directly related to the evidence. As I mentioned, the report probably is going to change. That's fine. The first page of the evidence, I give it the evidence number. I'm just using the class number, so you can use it's 1360. Quick little description of the evidence. It's a 256 megabyte red attaché USB drive with a silver color. Then in this next section, I basically described what I initially used on this evidence. You don't have to fool around with this, all right? That page is already done for you. Actually, this entire video, most of what's on this video has already been done for you. There's only minor little tweaks that you need to be aware of. You do notice that I use the word draft in my Word documents often. That's one of my nomenclatures that if I'm working on a long-term project and there's going to be many variations to it, I put a watermark in there that says draft. That's so when the time comes that I finally have to submit the document, I make sure draft isn't there, or I might have multiple drafts. I make sure draft's not there. It's just a watermark in Word. So you'd go into Word and just say remove the watermark. Okay. Here is the examination of the initial evidence, the actual tangible evidence. Now, normally what would happen here is they would turn that evidence over to you. They would put it in a sealed bag. They would turn over you. There's issues about chain of custody. We're not going to worry about it in that report because we're dealing with many students and back and forth and stuff like that. So we had the evidence bag tagged and photographed for you. But normally you would take it out of the bag and you would also photograph it and keep a record inside the report. I've already done that for you. So the evidence number 1360, that's a drive. Put your description here. In an executive summary, not too long, less than a paragraph, describe this drive. We have 4 of the 6 major images here, front, back, and stuff. We didn't do the top, the bottom, the side, or anything like that. But here's the top, here's the case without a case, here's with a case. Just describe this evidence. In your own word, describe the evidence. Then, so that's all you're responsible for. Don't change the image. The actual evidence. I've already did the hashing involved with this evidence. You have to imagine, I took the drive before I did any imaging on that drive. I took the drive and I hashed it. All right. I found 3 values, MD5, SHA-1, and SHA-256. I'm pretty good. At the end of the investigation, if they want to rehash that drive, the original evidence, they can do that and it should not change because we hash the drive, we get those values, we then image the drive, when we hash those values again, they should be identical. So you're not physically touching the drive, you're not physically hashing the drive. You'll be hashing files and hashing the image, but not the drive. So these hashes right here are the hash on the drive. Again, you don't change anything here in this next subject. Who was the imaging done by? Who collected the piece of evidence? Who did the imaging? I did, right? Basically, I've obtained the hash value of the original media. Eventually, it was the image was placed on a wiped location, an existing location. The hash values match, and you can read all this. I tried to the best of my ability, and this is for anybody, to make sure that there was no malware or viruses on that physical evidence. Again, let's use that pretend world. I did everything when I was looking at that USB drive. I was checking for malware. I was checking for maybe there was a booby trap on that drive, that maybe if that drive got booted the wrong way, it could have booted up and wiped that information out. I went through that whole process, all right? The initial investigator who took the physical evidence would do that whole process. Then all I did was take the report that was generated by FTK Image and I put it in here. The physical source of the drive, the number of cylinders, the bytes, the sectors, the overall size, sector count, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you insert your note, any necessary notes right here. Now, okay, not there yet. I did put that report in the appendix of this report. So let me smoke and mirror here because I don't want you to see the other sections. There's the appendix. And you will be using a lot of appendix because you don't want the body of your report to have a lot of excess data to it. So if there's some excess data that you feel would be important or germane to the project, you put that into a particular appendix. The entire report for the drive imaging, that's usually something I would put inside the appendix. And here's the given information. And you'll see that as we work on other pieces parts, as we do the other, phase 1 and phase 2 and stuff like that. So what do we have here? We have a report, a little smoke and mirrors here. We have a report. You have to use a little bit of imagination here. Imagine that the agency brought that physical USB drive to me, and then I took pictures of it, I described it, and you're gonna have to describe it here. Pretend like you're gonna describe it here. Make your description based upon here. I then imaged it. I followed all the appropriate protocols. First of all, before I imaged it, let me make this sure. The actual physical piece of evidence, I hashed it, I imaged it, and then I hashed it again. And so I know that nothing changed on the physical drive. I made sure there was no malware on there. I made sure there was no booby traps or anything associated. These are standard. So this could have taken me a couple hours, all right? And then in the body of the report, I put the particular information in here. Again, I told them there was no malware on there. The hashing values match. I gave it a drive geometry. And then I took that report and I put it into an appendix, right? So then I reference the appendix here. So a lot went on for me, the initial investigator, to deal with that evidence. Now, the next stage of our phase one is I got the evidence, did all this stuff. You now have that file, and now you're ready to do some investigation on that. Let me reiterate. The report's probably going to change over the years. It's going to get better, but at no point will the report change that will be of detriment to you. So if you've done something in the report, I'm not going to come back and say, oh, I didn't want you to do it, right? So you're going to see the report from my screen to maybe what you eventually get. Might be some slight differences, right? That's completely fine. You know, this video was recorded on a certain day. If the report changes tomorrow, I'm not recording this video. All right, with that being said, let's go on and investigate.